Hello and welcome back to the Lost in Stupidity podcast. I'm your host, Turner the Burner. I'm joined on my left by the one Will Hillbilly Howard. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here.
And filling in for Chris today, we've got a special guest in studio. We've got the one Bailee Joe Hickman. What about it, sir?
What's going on, gentlemen? Happy to be on the Lost in Stupidity podcast. Some would say I've been working my entire life to be lost in stupidity.
Oh, we've got a great episode planned for y'all today, something a little different. Hear us out. Don't just look at the title and say, no, thank you. Hear us out. Today we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic, cryptids, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the abominable snowman. But with that, let's get into it.
Let's go.
So, right off the bat, a bit of housekeeping. Sorry, as I get my, I'm driving the bus today, boys. Chris is usually running the laptop and the board, and I'm over here and feel like I'm driving the short bus, perhaps, but I'm trying to get everything lined out over here.
Definitely with us on it, Chris. You are missed.
So, anyway, come on, sit still. There we go. We have video this time. I hope it's supposed to be filming, but we are going to jump in. And everybody loves to talk about urban legends and Bigfoot and ghosts and all that good stuff. We're actually going to tell you today a story most of you probably haven't heard, and it's actually a series of events that happened to us. Me and Will and Bailee all had a series of strange events that happened to us, and I would categorize them as the typical what people would call a Bigfoot encounter. That being said, we're going to come at it at a little different angle. So be sure and listen to the end because there's, as always, on Lost in Stupidity, there is a lesson to be learned from this. So we're going to be talking about two different pieces of property, one of which we'll call it the Burkett 40. And that's a piece of hunting land. It's actually owned by Hillbilly Howard. And that's where half of these events take place, and then the other half is a piece of some of it's public land, some of it's private, but a lot of national forest that's probably an hour from where we all grew up. So starting off, we're going to go in chronological order. So Will, on the Burkett 40, this was the first strange thing that kind of happened. Walk us into... You like that Wes Germer quote?
Oh, yeah.
Will, walk us into what happened.
If you would, just walk us through what you experienced.
We love you, Wes.
Yeah. Wonder if he'd come on the show.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Over the phone, I'm sure.
But, all right, Will, what exactly happened, and in what, if you can remember, around what time period was this? Do you remember what year it was?
Okay, so to roughly set the stage, I believe it was sometime in December of 2018. We're out there on the property. Shortly after dark, I'm in a ground blind with my soon-to-be wife at the time, and armed with AR-10 with a pulsar thermal scope, and we're out there just waiting to see if some hogs will come in. And sitting there, and we hadn't been there long at all. And about 100 to 110 yards away comes this thing. And where it entered the road, I could tell it entered just outside of the range of the game camera I had at the time. And it entered, and it was just it paid no mind at all to the corn pile. And it entered and just kind of meandered for a little bit, just kind of scanning the road. And to describe this creature to you, the best way I could describe it is think of kind of the body profile of a black bear, but make its legs more than twice as long as it needs to be, with a longer neck and a more canine profile of a head. And one thing that shocked me.
So we calling dogman, Will? We done left Bigfoot. This sound we creeping into dogman territory.
extra spooky stuff.
Don't like it. Don't like it one bit. But continue.
So, and one thing that stood out to me looking through thermal, this is a nice thermal, gentlemen. At the time that I had bought it, it was a over $3,000 thermal scope.
This is before we were involved with Dave Ramsey.
Brought to you by American Express.
Also, none of us had children at this point.
Weird flex, but okay.
Well, not trying to flex, just like
right.
The quality of the
point being,
thermal
you could see
through.
pretty good.
This was good gear, is what you're saying. This was not like you went and bought the cheapest thing, and it was like, oh yeah, that was a blurry deer.
No, like I'm not seeing just the profile. I'm seeing lines on the face.
Ooh.
And another thing that stood out to me on the thermal was the paws on this thing. Massive. Disproportionately massive. And it's just meandering along, just kind of looking at the road, roughly 10 to 20 yards in front of it as it goes, just scanning back and forth, but coming down the road that we're sitting on, coming directly at us. And by its closing distance, it's probably roughly 60 to 65 yards away at this point. And I decide I'm going to squeeze a shot off at this thing. And I did exactly that. I shot, and the way this thing kind of skedaddled out of there. And at the time, this was before the timber was thin on this property, so this road was very narrow. So not a whole lot of field of view. But the way that it was running to get out of there was as if it was gearing up to get on its hind two legs.
Nope.
And
nope.
As it exits the frame of the field of view that I can see going into the next tree line, it's dang near upright.
Oh, no.
And so...
No, I'm good.
You had mentioned before, but tell the audience, because this is to me the even more unnerving part of this story. Of some people are going to hear this and go, well, whatever it was, you obviously missed. Would you like to walk that out of why you think you didn't miss and why this, whatever it was, toted a .308 caliber round?
Absolutely. So it wasn't long at all after this. Within 2 weeks, I believe, smoked a hog in nearly the exact same spot. I'm talking didn't move, didn't go nowhere. Lights were out. I did not miss this thing. Me and my wife would go out there. We look, and I tell you what, we looked a little bit more. Did not find a single drop of blood. And another thing I failed to mention is as that thing entered into the next tree line, you talk about the world falling apart.
See, that was my next question. You know, somebody would say if they believed in such a thing, and I'll walk that out later, but let's say a ghost or whatever you want to call it, a mirage, you actually physically heard this thing tearing through the woods like a herd of elephants, correct?
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And, you know, upon watching interviews or listening to interviews of people who had similar experiences, one thing I noticed is that they claim that they have felt a cold to a demonic presence, like they had legitimate fear for their life. I did not feel that at all.
That was going to be my next question. Going to be
because we'll get into that later too.
To me, like, have you ever had the feeling, maybe like when you were a little kid, of being around like a horse or cattle, where you're like, there's this sudden realization as a smaller, like we don't really have it a lot as adults, but when you're a little kid, you're like, man, this thing is huge. Like if it wanted to, like I remember being around horses when I was a kid. We had some, my grandfather had horses and that sort of thing. Like just a realization when I was probably like 7 or 8, we're like, man, this thing could hurt me so bad. Like was ever there, like maybe not necessarily fear, but that sort of thought of maybe I'm not top of the predator chain here.
And that's a very valid point. I've had those same thoughts before, and
not what you were feeling that night, though.
I didn't feel any of that whatsoever, which I find to be an anomaly in comparison to other people's experiences.
Well, even what happened to me in Bailee, which you are the hillbilly Howard, you are you know,
Fears no man.
you fear no man.
I'm that guy.
He's
He is the main character. This is Hillbilly's world. We just live in it.
exactly. So on this piece of property, this, like you said, this happened in 2018. So moving along chronologically, so Will, was this? I assume this would have been before. Was this before or after what happened to us at Camp Shelby? Because I didn't think me and my wife were married yet.
Well, no, that would have been before. That would have been earlier that fall.
So earlier,
So-
yeah. Okay.
Would you put that maybe early November?
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. I thought your encounter happened before that, or I would have started with this. So a few months before, this would be the first thing that kind of capped off a series of events. Me and Will had really just started hanging out. We were starting to become friends, and we got the idea we were going to go coyote hunting one night. And so there's a block of public land that also, it's actually a military base. And part of the military base bleeds into the national forest. But as long as they don't have the road blocked or have anybody there, you know, or any signs, you're allowed to hunt there and be on it just like national forest. Now that's an important detail because we always thought for several years that we had just seen a flare or that we had run up on somebody in the middle of a drill, but there's really no way that could have happened because they would have had the road blocked. The road that we went down, it's one way in, one way out, and if there was somebody doing any kind of war games down there, then the gate should have been shut and locked, and maybe even somebody physically there, you know, preventing people from going in. And as I recall, we didn't run into a soul all night. Is that correct?
Yeah, I remember that night, and we didn't encounter anybody, drive past anybody, not a single person.
So this isn't like some place where you weren't supposed to be. This is
No.
totally like, you know, like you said, I've been down there too. Like it's totally, anybody from this area knows like, oh yeah, you can go on Camp Shelby on these different areas. But like this isn't like super secret squirrel stuff the military was doing.
No, I don't believe so.
Because it's one of those things, people ask, like, can you go in there? It's like, well, if you couldn't go in there, you wouldn't be able to. Somebody would be there to stop you. They'd have roadblocks.
Yes. Yeah.
So, as I recall, and you can fill in the blanks here, Wilbur, I'm riding in your truck, and we go down here, and we see this. At the time, because we had no other way to explain it, we called it a flare, even though it wasn't a flare. It wasn't like anything we'd ever seen. It was this flickering yellow, really pale yellow, almost white orb of light that was hovering in the air. I don't know what, 40, 50 feet in the air, probably.
I think I personally would double that.
You think it was? I remember looking up, like you know,
Okay.
like if your sun visor's there. I remember, you know, at the very top of the windshield. I remember kind of ducking down a little bit and looking up. So yeah, that would be about right.
Like when you pull up to the red light over the line.
Exactly.
Like, oh, that's red.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So think about where we were. We had just pulled into that range, and it's about 650 meters to the pit where the targets are.
Yeah.
I feel like it was over that pit.
It may very well have
maybe
been.
even past the pit in trees, and like we're at a high point sloping down. So that's why I think it'd be taller than 40 to 50, maybe 80 or more feet.
And we both at the time, and it's interesting, you'll hear this in a lot of strange encounters that people will experience it and then they'll just get out of there and leave and then won't talk about it and just almost forget about it. And that's kind of what happened to us. Because I looked at Will and I'm like, Will, what is that? And you go, it's a flare. And I'm like, let's get out of here. And you just slammed it in reverse and we Starsky and Hutch. Don't know why. You know, why would we be, you know, it was instinctive. Why would we be afraid of a flare?
Yeah, just a flare hanging in the sky. Okay, but there was, contrary to the previous experience I was talking about, there was a sense of, we don't need to be here.
Yeah, and I really can't explain it. And at the time, we chalked it up to, oh man, we must have stumbled up on some war games or something. We thought we were going. We chalked it up as, well, that fear was
There's some sergeant about to come out yelling at you.
Exactly.
Or something.
and it took years later until this other stuff started happening that we look back and go, oh no, that I don't believe that's what that was. So
wild.
And we'll connect those dots later. But for the viewing and listening audience, so an orb, you hear, and this should be your first clue of a red flag, in Bigfoot encounters or dogman or haunted houses, haunted whatever, ghost stories, you hear of these orbs. UFO stories, you hear of these strange lights in the woods, these circular, and they can be different colors, these strange looking lights. Some people have even chalked it up and called them fairies. I think some of that folklore could have been these lights. And
the Foo Fighters.
The Foo Fighters, that's we need to do an episode on that. Military people have seen these things. We have seen, all three of us have seen whatever this is. Whatever this phenomena is, it does happen, and it has been recorded. It's been recorded on camera. I mean, probably hundreds of times.
Well, and not to reveal too much about what I saw, we'll get to that later.
Yeah,
but
right.
There's a clip from Russell Brand. Despite anything like you think about Russell Brand, he's kind of into this newscasting space now.
Sure.
There was a clip that I saw of him, and he picked it up from some local news source. And that orb is exactly what I saw.
There's a little teaser for the
There's
the
a
end
little
of this
teaser
episode.
for the end story.
So, going chronologically, the next thing that happened, things kind of settled down because, we stumbled upon something that we really weren't seeking out. And a lot of this stuff, I think, happens that way. You stumble upon something. And so, fast forward to the year 2023. This all happened in 2018, the weird orb and the whatever we all saw on thermal. So, in the year 2023, it is April, and I had my wife's old Suburban I was trying to sell, and was trying to sell it. I was having some issues with it, high miles, whatever. But anyway, there was a gentleman locally that saw a Bigfoot sticker on the back of that Suburban, because I've said this before. It was kind of a joke for me ever since I was a teenager. I don't know how it got started, but like I had Bigfoot stuff. Like I had a Bigfoot notebook at school. I had Bigfoot stickers on whatever. I don't know why that became my thing, but
if anybody's seen you walk across,
well, that's fair.
like your gate, like if we gave you a Bigfoot costume, you've got the gate down.
Wow.
That's probably
it's because Turner's a very intentional person, and he's like, if I go do anything, I'm doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
And that's like how Bigfoot walks. So like if you watch Turner walk across, you're like, man, he's on a mission somewhere. Where's the fun?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if that's it or not.
I was thinking more like, how some of these autistics will fixate on trains. That's kind of Turner fixated on Bigfoot. It's like, it's my comfort creature.
Thank you. And send that email to Will Howard.
It's okay.
Moving on.
I really like Legos, so go ahead.
God, oh my goodness. And we're starting to go off the rails.
Antique cast iron cookware. I'm not even joking. I love collecting those.
Oh my goodness.
It's amazing.
Dude.
On a soft tangent, there is some amazing,
soft tangent,
like wonderful antique cast iron cookware. Some Dutch ovens. You get like some of those medium-sized Dutch ovens that, a granny's been cooking in since the 1920s. They're perfectly seasoned. That's my jam.
Dude, my favorite oddball brand, this people that are into this stuff might not think it's oddball. Birmingham Stove and Range.
Oh,
they make good cast iron. Or used to.
Sorry.
Now that
we apologize for all of that.
There is way too much what's the word I'm looking for?
Stuff to dissect there.
No. What's the opposite of OCD? I'm losing my mind.
Aura.
Now, okay, moving on. Good
What's the
gracious.
kids say these days? I had my wife explain to me what aura was the other day. I was like, I've seen these videos online. I don't know what's going on.
See,
I feel old. I'm scared.
To me, the embodiment of aura is the video of the kid in like India or wherever, like on the front
on
of
the front
canoe,
of the boat.
just doing it.
Did you see the guy like out in Oklahoma?
The dude with his granny?
Gatlin Diner. Yeah, I was
That's
like,
the
that guy's
best one.
awesome. I
And
think
then
he's a
he just-
Christian stuff, and he's like pointing at the camera, and I'm like, that dude is awesome.
Stone cold.
Like, that is a cool farmer.
That was cool.
Sorry, Turner.
Moving on.
Moving on.
This is your fault for it.
I know.
Me and Will amp each other out about random stuff.
This is there's whatever this is, there's way too much of it in one enclosed space. So anyway, back to April 2023, me selling my vehicle and this gentleman seeing the Bigfoot sticker on it. And he's like, dude, do you listen to Sasquatch Chronicles? And I'm like, what? Yeah, right.
Tim Allen.
Oh, thank you for that. So,
Love
and I'm like, no, actually, I don't.
No,
And,
I'm not a freaking nerd.
Hey, we are now.
Yeah.
I'm about to say
That aged well.
I'm about to say that infected
Exactly.
you, infected him, infected me.
So he gets to talking about it, and he said there's even an encounter that happened locally from where we're based out of, and it intrigued me. So my day job, I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts. I'm in a truck a lot. And so I started hunting for this episode, and I could not find it. So I just started listening.
You talking about the one where we've been to? Before?
Uh-huh.
That is a heck of an episode.
And I've got that wrote down here.
I'm about to say, if we
I'm
can find
glad.
that guy.
Yes.
I need to re-listen to that one. It was
Yeah.
so good.
So to give you the cliff notes, I listened to all these encounters, and I started going, this is not finding Bigfoot on TV. As a matter of fact, those people and this guy don't get along. This is just a bunch of people calling in, and granted, there's plenty on there that you go, and don't do drugs, kids.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
there's several on there that I go, this person is scared to death. They actually saw something.
With you listening to all these, before you got to the episode, you started telling me and Will about it. And
Yep.
we started dabbling and listening a little bit. And one thing that struck me, just real quick on that note, is that some of these guys are almost ashamed to talk about this.
Yes.
Like, they're legitimately scared. Like, I am a hunter or a fisher or an outdoorsman. I don't like admitting that I saw this.
Yep. And people immediately, well, this is stage or this. And I just want to tell you, these people, and there's been like 1,200 episodes now, the people he interviews, they have accents and they give details about the places they live that actors can't give.
Well, like the guy from South Mississippi.
Like the guy from South
giving
Mississippi.
landmarks. For those of you that don't know, Turner in his former life was a forester.
Sure.
And I remember when you were telling me about this episode, you were like, dude, he's legit. I have literally marked trees in this forest.
Yes. Very close to where he was.
See, and people will say like, people just make these stories. They're just calling in for attention. What?
And some
what
of them might be.
attention are they getting?
That's
What?
my point.
See, and I know there's some serious trolls out there, but this is kind of a niche thing and a niche podcast, albeit successful. Okay, you're king of the crazies. What?
Yes.
And I'm sure there are some people out there like that, for sure. But it intrigued me enough to keep pursuing this and start researching it. So the episode in question that I finally saw was episode 761, if y'all want to listen to that. Episode 761 of Sasquatch Chronicles. Now, it is a harrowing, did I use that word correctly? A horrifying encounter.
I'd say both of those fit it.
Horrifying, traumatizing,
And it's
altering.
almost so fantastic that you walk away and go, there's no way this is true. Because he talks about hunting in this WMA that's near where we live, and he sees this thing on a pipeline and looks through his scope and basically describes a soot black gorilla man type creature that ends up bum rushing his tree and roars like a lion.
Oh, gosh.
Like, it sounds, again, so fantastic that you go, okay, really? However, after finally hearing this, and Bailee listened to it, and me and Bailee, in our infinite wisdom, let's fast forward. I started down this road in April. Let's go to June. In June of 2023, me and Bailee got the bright idea one Saturday night. Let's go down to this place. We knew we could get close. Obviously, we weren't in the same tree where he was hunting, but we were dang close. We were in that general area.
Yeah, and when we're talking about, guys, just so to clarify, we're not trespassing or anything.
This is public land.
This is public land, and some people may not realize what that is. Just to give it a quick summation, it's either state or federally owned land that you're allowed to go have recreation on. You know, they've got campsites or they'll have hunting designated areas, and this land has A, public roads that you're allowed to be on at any time of the night, and B, public access that you're just, again, you're allowed to be on. It is paid for by taxpayers. You're completely allowed to be out here. And we were just like, hey, it's like at the time, it was like 30 minutes from my house. And we were like, you know what? We're not doing anything on a Saturday night. Both of our respective wives and kids were asleep. We're like, let's just go see. Let's go take a look.
And so we go down here and we ended up parking on a gas pipeline. And so where we were parked,
like 15 yards off the road.
Yeah, 15 yards off the road, but we're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. There is some houses down there, but it's in the middle of nowhere. And this pipeline, we can see a certain distance. I forget, maybe a few hundred yards, but it dips off. We're at a higher point and the elevation changes and it dips down into a holler, as we say down here, that you can't see. And then it comes back up on the other side and you can see that hill. So we really can't, if you walk down in that low spot and turn around, you wouldn't be able to see the truck. And so we sit there, windows down, shooting the breeze, nothing's happening. And we start pushing the envelope. We've already begun to seek whatever out, whatever that may be. And so we start pushing the envelope. And so we decide to get out of the truck. And so we get out of the truck and we walk down. And at this point, there's crickets, there's frogs. It's kind of quiet, but there's wildlife.
I think we even kicked up a rabbit.
We did. I was about to say, and we kicked up a rabbit and it took off through the woods. And me and him, we jumped and like, look at us. There's a couple of idiots out here,
Calm down, Elmer Fudd.
Right.
Exactly.
We're out here like, boy, we're a couple of idiots out here scared for nothing.
Shh, I'm hunting rabbits.
So we go down to the bottom of the hill, almost to where we can't see the truck. And we turn around and go back. And we get in the truck, shut the doors, the windows are still down, motor's not running. And we sit there probably 15 minutes. And I begin to notice a eerie, and this sounds weird, a deafening silence.
Yes.
There are no crickets. There are no frogs. There's nothing. The bugs have shut up.
And this isn't like, okay, 2 or 3 hours, because if anybody that spent time in the woods, there's going to be a time at night. Like if you stay up late talking by the campfire, there's going to be a time where there's sound. There's going to be a time where there's not. This isn't like, okay, over the course of 45 minutes, an hour. This is like 10 minutes at most from we go an active living forest at night to you could hear a pin drop in this forest.
Like you had hit the mute button on a radio.
Correct.
And so I'm sitting there and like Ron White, I told you that story to tell you this story. So there's a phenomena known or theorized as infrasound. So infrasound gets the blame for like ghost encounters, Bigfoot, and there has been tests done. What infrasound is, it is sound waves below the level a human can hear. Not high frequency, ultra low frequency. And we know certain animals can emit these sounds like elephants, I think tigers perhaps. And they have done tests, and infrasound, ultra low frequency sounds can cause a human being to feel uneasy, anxious, maybe even sick, and it can even push enough air to like blow out a candle per se. So people will blame infrasound on like a haunted house. Now, that's the scientific explanation. What nobody can explain is what's producing this. That's the phenomena that's taking place. But nobody can explain where it's coming from.
Right.
Now, if you're a scientist intentionally producing it with a speaker, but in the woods, in the WMA, in the middle of the night where we were, what produced that sound, if anything?
Right.
So this phenomena can also cause your ears to ring. So that's where I come back into this. My ears start ringing terribly. Like if you've ever shot a firearm without hearing protection or used fireworks, something like that, been in a rock concert, that level of tinnitus. And it's so loud, it's bothering me. And I'm like, at that point, I start telling myself, Turner, you're freaking out. You've been listening to all these Bigfoot podcasts, all this, that, and the other. You're calm down, Turner. You're just in your own head. And at that moment, as I'm having this conversation with myself in my head, Bailee says, "Did you hear that?" And me and Bailee have known each other since what? I was 12.
Yeah, middle school.
Yeah.
I mean,
we have
we've
been
known
close
each other.
friends for over 10 years.
Oh yeah, I mean heck, our moms went to high school together. My mom and your dad were in like homeroom together in the 80s.
Yes,
so we've known each other basically all our lives.
I've known Bailee long enough to know that look of, oh no, he's not joking. He's not goofing me. And I like, are you serious? And describe what you heard and what you told me, if you recall.
That's what's so weird about it, because so just to back up just a little bit, one thing we talked about, we were like, okay, if we're gonna do this, everybody says you have a Bigfoot quote unquote encounter or something like that while you're having like normal everyday conversation. So we specifically said in the truck, we're like, well, let's just talk, let's just shoot the bull, sit there and talk. And after, like Turner said, we got out, walked down this little short cutaway, and then walked back. And I don't remember us saying, let's not talk. Like, I just remember us getting in the truck,
No.
and for some reason, we had gone from talking and intentionally having conversation to just kind of make this like in a normal sitting there. We got in the truck, and we just both shut up for no particular reason.
You're right. And
I can't pinpoint in my memory why either one of us did that.
Me neither.
But what I did hear was, I thought I heard what, they say like is a wood knock. I don't know that, and I can't even say that I heard that, but what I can tell you I was experiencing the same ear ringing. And it was like at this, and again, and I think I asked if you heard something, because I was like, something had to have happened to make my ears ring.
You said that you had heard something, and I said, like a wood knock?
Yeah.
And you were like, I think so.
Exactly.
And I told you,
I wasn't sure.
And I told you, I said, well, let me know if you hear anything. My ears bothering me for some reason. I'm having trouble hearing. Yep. And at that point, you get kind of this grim look of, well, now that you mention it.
When you said my ears are doing something funny, I was like, et tu, Brutus?
Okay. And at that moment, you say, mine's bothering me too, or whatever you said. At that moment, there was an unspoken, and we'll not to give too much away, I'll walk this out later. There was this feeling of primal fear, this feeling of oppression, and
it was kind of like what Will was talking about, of this feeling of dread.
And
like, we don't need to be here anymore.
And we didn't say anything. It hit us at the exact same time, and we literally, it was like a movie. We turned and looked at each other, and I went, "Did you?" And you're like, "Yeah," and we just cranked the truck and got
just
out
like
of there.
You and Will with the orb.
Yeah.
It was just like, nope. There's no reason to stick around. There's no reason to hang out. It's time to go.
And again, can't explain it.
Explain it.
Did we see anything? No.
So, anyways, I started blasting.
Right. But just this weird feeling, and again, there's people out there, friends of mine, friends of ours, that give me a hard time of like, well, you just got worked up. Guys, Bailee mentioned I used to be a forester. I went in some of the most remote areas you can go into in Appalachia, cruising timber, and I carried a pocket knife. I had no gun. I had a pocket knife and a pair of tennis shoes and my computer. and I would hike down through ridges and mountains all alone. If they, take a step and fall in a valley, and no one would ever found me.
Oh, some of the pictures on your Instagram, not to have a shameless plug, but some of your pictures on your Instagram from those days were like, golly, like people intentionally hiked to go to those areas. Turns like, yeah, I'm just here for work.
Point being, I don't spook easily in the woods.
Yeah.
I do now after all this.
I'm about to say now we do.
At that time, I did not.
I don't like crickets anymore.
Right. So here's where it gets even weirder. And we're kind of going in chronological order.
Is it possible to get weird?
Oh, yes. Oh, no. For the people out there saying it's all coincidence. Well, coincidentally,
eventually, so many coincidences has to add up to something.
I had a coworker. He was like, one's an incident, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern.
So the next day, and after this happened, and we really didn't have any, explanation of what had happened. We just had this weird feeling. Like, I don't know about you, Bailee, but I went home and I come in the door, and Caitlin was up, my wife, and she's like, "What happened to you?" Like, she could see it in my face, and I'm trying to explain and not sound like a crazy person or a big chicken what happened, and I'm like, nothing was supposed to happen. That's what I kept saying. This is not real. Nothing was supposed to happen. This was supposed to be a joke.
Yes.
So the next day,
well, it was honestly supposed to just be like bro hangout time.
Yeah.
Which we've done again.
Yeah.
You've done it with all your bros. You've been like, hey, let's go, have a campfire. Let's go, we're going to go play basketball and then sit on the tailgate. We're going to go do hood rat stuff. We're going to, go smoke a cigar and go catfishing on the river. Just like, let's just go hang out. And that's what this was supposed to be. Talk about politics, talk about religion, talk about everything under the sun, talk about what's going on in your life. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't like this. We got to go.
Zoinks.
Like a Scoob. I'm not really comfortable here anymore. Rest roll.
The next day, it would have been Sunday, obviously. Me and my family went and ate with my parents, and my brother was there with his wife. And I don't remember if I had texted or if I had told Daddy something that morning. I don't remember, but it come up. And my brother's like, okay, tell me what happened. What happened last night? And I proceed to explain what kind of happened. And 2 things that are scary. One is my father looks at me deadpan serious. And this is the only explanation he didn't expound upon. He's like, yeah, I had a bad feeling last night that you shouldn't have went down there, and I really don't know why. Which, that didn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
No.
So, my sister-in-law was like, tell him about the Click people. That's down there where we were.
Oh, good grief.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so, a couple of years prior, in this same area, my brother and my cousin and their respective wives were in a K5 Blazer. And for those of you that don't know, that's like a Ford Bronco. It's a SUV. The top comes off the back. That's an important detail.
It's like a 4-wheel drive convertible.
You ever looked at a Ford Bronco and just wished that it was all around better and cooler? That's the K5
exactly.
Blazer.
Well said. Dang well said, sir. So
OJ would never.
Oh my goodness.
He would have gotten away in the K5 Blazer.
All right. And send those emails. I give up.
If the glove does not
Stop
fit,
it. Stop it.
Acquit.
That
was a famous time.
Oh my
in
goodness.
history.
We are so off the rails. So anyway, they proceed to tell me they are in the Blazer. The top is off. So wind noise. It's a V8 big honking 4-wheel drive. It's not quiet.
Yeah. And you're also going 55, 65 miles an hour.
Well,
I got all-terrain tires that are humming.
Exactly. So they're going down this highway, and the alternator starts going out on the Blazer. So the headlights begin to dim. For those of you that aren't car people, the alternator charges the battery as you drive. So they are trying desperately to get through the woods and get home before the battery goes dead. So they not because it wouldn't run any faster, but because they can't see from the headlights. They've had to slow down to about 35 miles an hour, which still
There's still wind noise. Yeah.
wind noise, tire noise, big
Correct.
V8. Excuse me. And above the roar of the truck running about 35, 40 miles an hour, they begin to hear, they called it clicks, but knocking, loud knocks. Well, not that click, people.
Not that click, people.
Loud, what would be described as wood knocks. And it's loud enough that they hear it going down the road.
As they're continuing to drive and get away.
Yes. And they will hear it on one side of the road, and then it will answer on the other side of the road.
I know his brother, which I'm sure he'd be a fun person to have on here too. He's hilarious. Turner's little brother who does this, for those that don't know, is a very serious person. He's got a great sense of humor.
Absolutely.
But he is not like, he's not the guy that like, oh, you can't trust anything he says. Like he's
a bit stoic.
He's a bit stoic. He's kind of a quiet person. And when he says something, he means it. Like I've known him a long time too. He is not a BSer, as we call him in the South.
Yes, absolutely. And so again, you're still moving 30, 40 miles an hour. And whatever this is following them and answering on both sides of the road. And it's loud enough that everybody in the truck can hear it. And before it's over with, the girls are beside themselves, afraid. And they're like, we don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And so this continues. And then finally they get out of the woods and get home. And they didn't think anything of it until we had our encounter. And it's like,
okay,
this was within about 5-10 miles as the crow flies from where we were.
And all of these stories for, what would you say, a 50 square mile radius?
Oh, even less.
Oh,
Even for wheels. Yeah.
I was including wheels, maybe like a 40, 30.
30 or 40 square mile radius.
Okay, so, but and the reason I mentioned that is that, we're not just trying to validate that we're not crazy. We're crazy. I'll admit that. We're on a podcast called.
We're out there.
We're out there, man. We're in a podcast called Lost in Stupidity. But my point in bringing this up is
feeding us a bunch of lies, man.
It's a conspiracy, man.
Deception.
But my point in bringing that up is that we've talked about this before. Every time you start talking about this, if you're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to mention this, and I know somebody's going to think I'm crazy. A lot of times people go, "Oh, you're not crazy. Let me tell you what happened to me."
There you go.
We had after this incident, at that time, we don't anymore. Me and Turner worked together at the same place. And we had this older coworker who we both respected a lot. This guy, blue collar guy, worked like one of the, think about the hardest working person, this guy's up there with him. Just no nonsense. He had a great sense of humor. Hilarious. Again, blue collar guy in his 50s, worked out in the heat all of his life. Again, one of those people where you're like, oh man, you can kind of trust whatever he says. And me and Turner are kind of talking about this at work, and this guy overhears us, and I've got a big mouth. So I was like, hey, we're doing this. And Turner's like, Bailee, don't. Please stop.
That's literally what happened. Like, oh, don't tell anybody we're crazy.
Turner's like, everybody's going to think we're crazy at work. And this guy came over and was like, dude, I had something happen to me like in the 90s where he was like, I went at the edge of a campsite to relieve myself and had something crashing through the woods. He said it sounded like an elephant.
Yep.
And he said, in South Mississippi. I'm here to tell you, folks, there's nothing as big as an elephant in South Mississippi.
No, and it's funny. It's funny, like you said, when, for every 5 people that go, y'all are making this up or y'all got scared, there will be one or 2 or 3 people coming, oh, no, man. And they don't want to talk about it, but like, hey, something weird happened to us. Again,
not to jump the shark, it may not be something that's like totally bizarre and it's all the same thing, but it just goes to say, like, and I've said this before, we don't know everything. There are still mysteries out there. As somebody who loves science, I like not to give my own resume real quick, but like,
please do.
I have a degree in environmental biology. Like I spent a long time studying this stuff. I love science. I took a bunch of chemistry, took a bunch of anatomy and physiology, all the, regular biology courses. I love like physical sciences. They're so cool to me. But you kind of get this feeling, at least I did, and I've been out of college like 10 years now. But like when I was in college, you kind of get this idea listening to these professors where it's kind of like there's, all the corners of the map are filled out. We know most of what's, okay, we might not know a little bit about this one area, but we know most everything. I'm here to tell you, man, there's a lot more mysteries out there than you think there are.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It's a little off topic, but kind of an example of something that just happens that we do not know everything about. Are y'all familiar with witching rods?
Yes.
I don't know what to do with that.
I've tried looking it up. There's seemingly no explanation whatsoever as to why it works. I have seen it. I have done it. It works without a shadow of a doubt. It works on power lines. It works on water lines. It works on graves. It works on springs.
And don't know why.
There's something about this old dirt that we don't know everything about.
There is.
You're exactly right. And so if that wasn't enough for this particular area, let me give you another one. So right about this.
Hit them again.
Yeah. Hey, this right after this, that, let's see, this happened in what I say, June. So fast forward to like October, November.
Yeah, early bow season. My brother-in-law and my father-in-law also hunt very close to where all this weird stuff happened. And one day, I don't remember why it come up, and my brother-in-law goes, yeah, I got run out of the woods by a hog the other day. And I'm like, what? And to clarify, look, feral hogs can be very dangerous. They can. A lot of times, there's so many of them now, and they get into more populated areas. A lot of times, unless there's a sow pig with piglets, they generally see you and they run off. Yeah.
Like again, they're a wild animal, but typically you have to corner one up, or there's little ones nearby for them to show any type of aggression.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so did you see a hog or what? No, I kept hearing this loud popping and clicking noise. And I figure it must have been like a hog popping his jaws at me, snapping. And I'm like, okay, describe to me what you heard. And again, a loud cracking, clicking, like somebody taking a 2x4 to the side of the tree in this same area. And I'm like, brother-in-law, I don't think you heard a hog. And this is just a twofer for that one. Just weird stuff that can't be explained. I said, well, has anything else weird ever happened in that area while you were hunting? He said, yeah. I was sitting there and I could clearly hear something walking through the swamp, through water, like a suction, when you step in mud and water. And I said, well, that's not that unusual. He said, there ain't water for a mile right there. It's dry as a bone. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that, brother.
No, I don't like that.
So,
no, thank you.
Point being, I'm not saying there's, and we'll, again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I have a theory on this Bigfoot nonsense. Not to say this is Bigfoot or Dogman. I'm saying in this particular area, there's some strange things that take place that I don't have an answer for.
Yep.
And so let's fast forward to about that same time as my brother-in-law's incident, going into the winter. Well, no, before that, October, my incident.
Yes.
So let's go back to
Burkett 40.
Let's go back to the Burkett 40, where
the same place where Will saw the dogman thing.
Yes.
That toted a 308, by the way.
Yes.
That's the most terrifying part to me, is that if anybody's been around guns, the 308 is not a slouch.
No, that's a tough one to walk away from.
That's a tough one to walk away from.
So,
I mean, if you're Tim Kennedy, you could do it. But
all right.
Hey, stop. I don't even know why we bother doing a cryptid podcast. I'm willing to bet if we ask TK, he's killed Bigfoot. He's mounted on his wall.
And please send that email to Will and Bailee.
Please do.
Oh, here we go. Oh, goodness. I'm going to get in so much trouble this week.
I apologize.
I'm going to get in so much trouble
this week. That was uncalled for.
You're only going to get shade from the suckers that believe him.
Moving on.
That episode comes later.
That comes later.
That
comes
comes
later.
Now is not the time for Tim Kennedy, dear doctor. That comes later.
Whoa.
And anyway, so October, the opening week of bow season, me and Will are out at the Burkett 40. And I have hiked, I'm about, through the woods? Half a mile away? 3/4 of a mile?
Yeah, it's probably just a tad over half.
Tad over half a mile away. Will is set up on a feeder, and I think he had his crossbow at the time. So because he was in a shooting house. I am way down the road, and I have hiked into the woods, and it is probably one of the most remote portions of the property, and it's this hardwood bottom next to a pine thicket, and I'm set up down there in my climber, got my bow, and as the day progresses, we're excited. It's opening day or whatever, opening week of bow season. We're down there, we're going to hunt, and I don't see anything, and as the day progresses, I begin to hear the whack.
Was this when I just refresh my memory?
Yep.
Was this when I dropped you off at the railroad track?
Yes, sir.
Very well. Continue.
It's actually because the way the wind was blowing, I didn't hike in there the way I came out. I actually had Will drop me off on the other side of the property. That's an interesting detail to note because, again, the way I walked around through there, I can tell you there was nobody back there but me.
Yeah.
I can, without a shadow of a
A
doubt.
lot of effort put into being as undisturbed as possible to get in there, not
Yes.
bother anything.
Yes.
Yeah, which is great for deer hunting.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So I began to hear what I would describe as wood knocks. And coincidentally, before somebody says, well, you heard a woodpecker, there was a cotton picking woodpecker that flew in there where I was hunting, and he stayed with me all day, pecking around. And I'm telling you, what I heard was not a woodpecker. It sounded like it was 70 to 100 yards away in the pine thicket. And it sounded just like somebody taking a wooden Louisville slugger or a 2x4
The whack.
and smacking it just as hard as you could against a pine tree. The whack. The whack. And this went on and I can't tell you how many times it happened because of our earlier encounter. I ignored it. Like, that was my coping mechanism of like, I don't know what this is, but when I started counting, it had probably happened 10 times, and I counted over a dozen times that this happened over a course of about 4 hours.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to ignore peak steroid Toby McGuire waylaying
Yes.
into a pine tree with a Louisville slugger.
And matter of fact, the last time it happened that made me get down right at dark, it was so loud and it echoed that it actually, the week prior, I had my wisdom teeth out. And so I was still a little bit sore. No, I was not on medication.
Hurting, but lacking wisdom.
Yeah, right.
That's
Before
what happens when you get your wisdom teeth
Exactly,
taken out.
exactly.
That's why they take them out at boot camp.
So,
Don't get any ideas.
so
I bet you just had a thought. Come here.
Let me have them teeth, boy.
So, I'm a little bit tender on that side. My ears hurting a little bit. And the last time this happened, it was so loud, it hurt my ear on that side. It was like somebody took a .22 Magnum revolver and fired it by my head. And I kind of winced. And so I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm getting down. So I get down right at dark. And where I'm at is a low place. And it's really thick. So it's going to get darker down in there before it does where Will is at, up on the hill. So I'll hike through the woods instead of going by the railroad tracks. And I come out on the main road. And I said, well, I'm going to turn to the north away from Will. And maybe I bump something up, a deep doe in the road or something.
Right.
And I'm going to let Will finish his hunt. I don't want to disturb him. I'm not going to go back toward him. And so I go to the north, all the way to the property line, turn around, and it's getting good and dark. and I hear, and I don't like saying it because I can't explain it, and it just sounds so weird. It was like the only word that comes into my mind to this day, what I heard was a beast. It was this low.
I was not in the woods that day.
Like,
I know I've been working out, but I was not there that day.
This was a low, guttural, like I tell you what the cadence was like, not the sound.
It wasn't Liver King in the woods.
It was not Liver King. That's also
Joe Rogan.
It was not.
Calling you out. I just finished my coffee enema. And I'm ready to fight.
What if somebody's listening to this like 4 or 5 years down the road and they have no idea any of these references?
It's the problem with contextual humor.
It is.
Go watch a contextual humor movie from the 70s. You won't understand any part of it.
You and your $10 words. I don't know what that means.
So, you know how a dog...
Insert marine joke right here.
My
Sorry.
Help, I've been hijacked. You know how when a dog is fixing to get after somebody, there's that initial growl like that.
Yeah.
It was like that initial, and then it comes up, but it was like it was a recording of a roar because it stopped. It was like it didn't sound right. It was not like a growl and then it comes back down. It was like a, and it stopped. And I'm like,
that's weird.
That is so strange. And at this point, I'm unnerved. I'm like, that I can't even process because it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I continue walking. And again, to set this scene, for somebody, first of all, nobody knew we were back there. Somebody that would try to prank us. And if it was somebody pranking us, they would have had to walk 2 miles through the god-awfulest briar thicket on this planet. It's just not possible.
Also on private property.
On private property.
We've moved away from the WMA public property situation. We're on private fenced property. And also, just being from South Mississippi, I think most people know you don't go play a prank on your buddy during deer season.
No.
That's a good way to get...
scare people with weapons.
Yeah, let's go put something camouflage related on and sneak around where a guy is trying to shoot something. Is probably a bad call.
and so
we call that turkey hunting.
So I keep walking, and every now and then I just got that gut feeling like something is about 30 yards to my right, pacing me out
in the woods.
And I don't necessarily hear footsteps. It's like every few feet, like every fifth step, I hear a crunch. Every few steps, I hear a twig break. Whatever it is, like it's so good at stalking that it's moving silent, but it can't move that good. Like I get every now and then I hear something. And I text Will, like, you need to climb down.
Time to go.
Hey, I told him,
I'm scared.
I said, bring your gun and walk this way. I don't know what's going on.
Dude, that's not a good feeling.
I was okay. I wasn't okay. But I was okay.
I'm not okay.
I'm so brave.
Until what I'm about to tell you. There's a bend in the road, and it goes back to the right a little bit as you go south and then goes straightens up. When I got to the bend in the road, something to my right whistled. It went. And on the other side of the road,
to quote the old joke, get me my brown pants.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, so no, that's not the worst part.
Oh, no, it gets worse.
That's not the worst part. The worst part is on the other side of the road in front of me, something answered and made
oh, no.
It made like a hoof. There was a and a
no.
Oh, I lost it. I'm guys, you can call me a weenie. I left my stand.
Heck no.
I left my bow. I think. I don't remember. Did I have my bow when I come back? Was it in my hand?
I think it was. I think you had your bow, but your stand was gone.
I left my stand, and Usain Bolt couldn't have called me going out there. I'm just telling you. And so And me and Will come back down there, shine flashlights, had our guns. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's disconcerting.
So now we're getting to the point of things that are not physically possible. And so ergo, and where I'm headed with this, if you leave things that are not physically possible, to me, and again, we're all followers of Christ on this podcast. We don't apologize for that.
Nope.
We have a biblical worldview. To me, we start getting into the spiritual realm.
Agreed.
And so that's going to lead us into the final thing that happened and kind of what I like to call the wake-up call.
Yes.
So later that year, it was on in the winter, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was in the winter. This was...
Keep in mind, all this stuff is happening, a few months apart.
This is all within a year. Like, we're
right.
not even...
Within 6 months.
Yeah, probably within 6 months. This may be January, February. I don't remember exactly when. Are you ready for me to go?
Go ahead.
All right. So, like Turner alluded to, we used to work together, and I think you
were filling in for me.
Yeah, you took a vacation day or something like that. So I was filling in for Turner, driving a truck, and without getting into too much detail, basically, when you're done with the job on Turner's job, it's like on a good night, it's midnight. Yeah. On a bad night, it's like 2 a.m. Like the shift is just kind of weird where it falls. So like this is, middle of the night, 1, 2 in the morning. And I got back to our shop, got in my personal truck, started driving home, and my drive home was like 30 minutes. Should I mention the road?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, yeah,
it's a public road.
Well, it's a public road, and there's also some other weirdness that's happened on that road too.
Locals will know that there's some other weirdness.
More on that later.
Yep. So this road going between my work and at the time where I lived, I don't live there anymore. Thank God. Because of this story. It's called Old River Road.
Drove on it to come over here.
There you go. So Old River Road is just an old country road. There's nothing inherently special or inherently spooky about it. And I have been driving this road. I think I'd lived out here a year when this happened.
Oh, we all grew up driving it.
Grew up driving it.
Yeah.
And I had like bought a house and had been working on this house, and then we moved into it. I've been driving this road in the night, in the daytime, all hours of the night. And this was a normal day, filling in for Turner, driving back at 1:00 in the morning. I'm listening to the radio. And on this road, there's some type of, it's like any country road you go down, somebody's got cattle, right? So there is somebody's, open range, or not open range, this big open field with just barbed wire all the way around it. And they've got a gate at it, and there's 2 telephone poles on either side of the gate. And this is like, for me in my mental thinking, like the halfway point or 2/3 point, whatever it is. And I know this spot like the back of my hand. And I am coming up to, again, on either side of the gate leading into this cow pasture is telephone poles. And as I'm driving up, I've got my high beams on, because again, we're talking country road. You would be lucky at 5:00 to see a car on this road. That's how rural this is. In the middle of the night, unless it's the sheriff, you're not seeing anybody. Yeah. And honestly, if you see the sheriff, he's probably going to pull you over, because he's like, dude, nobody comes down here. What are you doing? So like nobody comes down this road. So 1 or 2 in the morning, I can see with my bright beams on that I can see coming up to this cattle field, and there's that telephone pole where I know the gate is. And I kind of look on top, and there's a light on top of the telephone pole. And the light just stands out as weird. My initial first thought is, I'm like, okay, cool. They put like a security light out here or something, because I've seen like the ranchers go through there tending the cattle. So I was like, okay, cool. They may put a security light up here. You got to check on the cattle in the middle of the night or something, whatever. But then I started looking at the light a little closer, and I see this thing probably a 1/4 mile out, because it's a long stretch of nothing. And the light, how do I put this? It is luminous, but it's not emitting light. So it is a perfectly round circle of white light, almost like a dim white. And for those of us that are millennial and older will remember the old TVs with fuzz on it, right? It's like it's textured, when you don't have a channel or when the VHS ended. And it almost looks like textured like that, right? So, and if you had a lamp on top of a pole, think of your regular light pole on your street, it's shining light down. And that's what I mean by it's not emitting light. There's no light below it.
Yep.
It just exists. And it's textured. And I'm like, that's a weird light.
So weird.
Man, boy, what technology is getting wild these days. That light looks weird. And I am pulling up with my pickup truck. And when I get to where it is directly beside me, I can still see it. And it is not like it went out. It's like it was almost 2-dimensional and it turned and it is gone. Just not there anymore.
To quote myself earlier, I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out. Nope.
It is not there. And as I'm driving away, again, country road, there's nobody out here. I just turned around, looked through the rear glass of my truck. It's not there. It's completely gone. So I just keep driving. I'm like, that's weird. Maybe my headlights, you like you said, you kind of you start making excuses in your mind. You're like, maybe my headlights reflected off something.
You try
weird.
to rationalize it.
Right. You're like, okay, well, where in my, Rolodex of memory have I seen something like that?
Yeah.
Well, I come up again, probably another quarter mile, and I'm coming around a bend. And this is the part where it goes over the Leaf River for those that know. And I look in my rearview mirror and I see a motorcycle headlight, which is what I assumed was a motorcycle headlight. And I'm like, that's weird. A motorcycle at 1:00 on Old River Road. And then I start looking at it closer and it's the same light. It's that white texture. Nope. It is not emitting light. It is just there. And what the other thing that cued me out to know that it wasn't a motorcycle light was for those of you that have driven a motorcycle, if you turn your steering bar and that, round light turns with it, then if somebody's looking at it, it doesn't look round anymore. It looks, like an oval. Right. Because, it's pointing a different direction and you only see an oval shape.
Yeah.
It is bouncing from the edge line to the center line and catching me, and it is still perfectly round. It is not like it's not like you're steering it and it looks like an oval, steering it looks like an oval, steering it looks like an oval. It is bouncing from the center line to the sideline and it is catching me. And I see this thing.
I've got chills right now.
Probably 300 yards behind me. And again, old country road. I'll admit it. I was going a little faster than I should, probably doing 55, 65 miles an hour. And it is catching up with my pickup truck. When I tell you, like, the hair stood up on the back of my neck, that intense feeling of dread was there. And I gunned that little Toyota pickup truck. You would be surprised how fast a 4.0 V6 in a pre-runner can go. Yeah. I think I hit 115. No joke, because I was like, I'm not staying here. And I kid you not, Turner mentioned we are followers of Christ. And, dude, I started praying. I started saying the Lord's Prayer. I started saying Psalm 23, anything that I could remember.
Yeah.
Which is a side note for why scripture memory is so important. I did not believe that as a child when my mom and dad told me that. And as an adult, I'm like, no. Have the scripture written on your heart.
Yep. It is important. Yes. Be like the little guy in The Mummy, just like saying all these different
right. Exactly. And I was like, this is crazy. And I hit the stop sign right before it got to my town, and I looked back and it was gone. And thankfully hitting 110 in a Toyota did outrun it.
Yeah.
I think moreover, it wasn't the Toyota that outrun it, as good as Toyota trucks are. It was God that allowed me to outrun it.
Well, and this is the point, and I don't remember if this was before or after. I think I failed to mention that also during around this same time, while driving home, now this was in Meridian, Mississippi, Highway 59 on exit 156. There's a Kubota dealership there now. Didn't used to be. That I too had seen an orb.
Yes. Because you had told me about that before I went and filled in for you. Because I was like, I bet I'm going to see an orb tonight. And I had gotten all the way through Turner's route.
Yeah.
Like
And had
in the
nothing
big
weird
truck,
happen.
it had nothing. I was like, okay, cool. I'm off scot-free. And then on the way home.
Yeah, because I was coming back probably 10, 11, no, it was later than that, probably 11 o'clock at night, and I pulled off on the exit a second. And where I'm talking about above this forest was a jade green orb.
Yeah.
About the size of a manhole cover. So the orbs, from the beginning of me seeking this out in April to now the end of the year, we've now had 2 strange encounters, seen 2 orbs, and over a period of several years, we've had all this stuff in this area. And that's when Bailee come back and told us what had happened. To me, that was the final straw.
Yeah.
Because not only have I now, whatever we've tapped into, not only is it now affecting me, I've now put people around me in danger. I guess that argument could have been made the day at your property, but that was kind of the final straw for me of, honestly, I became convicted by the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do another episode on this. There are times that, look, there, I believe it was 1829, there is 2 newspaper reports of a creature that sounds like Bigfoot that the pioneers have killed. Like, if you go out through history, there's all these physical accounts. And that leads me to believe that maybe there was once this species of great ape.
Yeah.
However,
I mean, there's fossil record
there is
of a great ape in North America.
And there's records of like similar, like we call it Sasquatch or
Right.
Bigfoot. In Australia, they call it the
Yowie.
The Yowie. You got the Yeti. Every continent has one.
In China, it's the Yeren. In the Middle East, it's the Barmanu.
The silverback gorilla still lives in the wild. Like, let's not forget that. If you did not know what a silverback gorilla was, and you stumbled upon those while you were camping, you would lose your mind.
Some sort of half man, half animal beast out in the woods.
Yeah, that can snap you like a twig.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even and there's no chance my mother-in-law will listen to this episode because she's horrified of Bigfoot because of the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek. The actual, and I didn't realize this till recently, the actual physical event that inspired The Legend of Boggy Creek back in the, whatever it was, 60s or 70s,
Mm-hmm.
it was something. I'm not saying it's Bigfoot, but something slash like the screening on the cabin and like run over a guy. Like, it was a physical event.
Yeah.
However, I fell under conviction of the Holy Spirit, and what I began to notice is these darn orbs, these strange lights pop up in UFO encounters, in ghost encounters, and in Bigfoot. Well, 2 of those things, again, as a Christian, 2 of those things I believe are demonic.
I'd agree with that.
Because I believe that the way people describe, I was abducted by aliens or I had this vision or whatever, I think it's demonic. I think it's some sort of demonic possession. Again, that's just my takeaway. I know that's where I land on ghosts, because as Christians, we know that when we die, we go one of 2 places.
Yes.
Awaiting judgment.
Yes.
We're either with our Creator or we're not.
Yep.
We don't believe in.
There's no middle ground, guys.
There's no middle ground. We don't believe in purgatory. We don't believe in.
I got you. I got your question to the lifelong answer of what happens when you die.
Yeah.
I got it right here.
Give it to us, baby.
You're either with Christ. What he said to the thief on the cross, you will be with me in paradise today.
Yep.
Or you won't. And I'm not trying to be hellfire and brimstone, but it is serious that what we are talking about, as Christians, everything in our life should point to Christ.
Yes.
That should be our goal.
And to that end, so side note, we may dive into this on another episode. Guys, I'm looking in the camera. I'm pleading with you. Your grandmama is not speaking to you through the walls of an old house. There's not a real Civil War soldier come back, his spirit roaming around. That is a demon. They are impersonating people, and they are trying. The purpose of a demon is to trick you and to deceive you and to cause chaos and to rattle you. Please.
Their purpose is to they were prideful angels that fell from the grace of God because of their pride. They went with Satan. Revelation 12. Is interpreted as a third of the stars, and most scholars interpret that to be a third of the angels went with Satan. Regardless of how you want to interpret that, we know that demons are former angels. Not to get often too much of the theological weeds, but I will say, to your point, guys, you can't go in a southern town, as much as we like to call this the Bible Belt. You can't go outside of town without seeing fortune teller, card reader on some little shack.
Yes, sir.
Tarot cards.
Yes,
Tarot
sir.
cards.
Astrology.
I'm telling you guys, they're not. If you go to them and you're like, man, I did hear somebody speaking. Again, it's not grandma.
No, it's not.
You were messing with something, and I'll give you some biblical proof. If you don't believe the Bible, well, you don't believe the truth, so I'm not going to argue with you. But if you do believe in the Bible, read the story of the Witch of Endor.
Yes.
Oh my!
Yes.
I love
That
this
is
story.
phenomenal.
This story is where this is where Samuel has lost, or Samuel has
Saul.
died.
Yeah,
Yes,
Samuel is dead.
Samuel has
Saul.
died, who, anointed Saul and anointed David.
Mhm.
This is kind of between that period of before Saul falls on his own sword and David is the actual king. And sort of this, they're kind of at odds. And it also says that, God withdrew from Saul. So Saul is just like, I don't know what's going on. I am going to go find me a fortune teller.
If only I could speak with Samuel one more time.
Because
if only I could.
He knows that Samuel is the voice of God for him. That Samuel was the prophet of God, right? And so he goes to this witch, this fortune teller of Endor. And he's like, I need you to bring Samuel back. I need you to do this, which is kind of crazy to me that 4,000 years later, you still hear people talking about that.
Yeah.
Not much has changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's amazing to me if you read that story when Saul has the witch, quote unquote, bring Samuel back. The witch is freaked out. She loses her mind. Do you know why? Because she never did it before.
Never happened.
It never happened. And this is the moment where God, it was not her power, it was God's power that allowed Samuel to come back and speak. And he says, why are you doing this? Samuel's like, Saul, why are you doing this? Why am I here? You don't do this.
Yeah. Why are you disturbed?
But my favorite part is that witch is completely losing her mind. It says she shrieks and runs away because it never worked. Because that stuff is not real, guys. You are messing with demonic
You are.
things.
And not to say, God is all powerful. He could do whatever. Because I know somebody could possibly misconstrue this. Side note, this is before Jesus.
Yes.
So also, I don't even, again, God can do anything. But as far as this being set up to even happen in 2025, let's walk it out. Because during that time, before Jesus, souls went to what the Jewish people called Sheol.
Yes.
And so when, as I interpret it, when
a holding place.
Yeah, a holding place. When Christ was resurrected, the souls either went with him or they didn't.
Abraham's bosom.
There you go.
Yep.
So
But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
For the listeners, let's not be confused. We're not still having we're not condoning continual revelation. Okay, you're not
done.
going to have anything revealed to you that is not somewhere between the beginning of Genesis and the end of Revelation.
Yes,
you're not going to have anything from God revealed to you that is not within those words.
No.
Continual revelation is heresy.
It is.
If an angel or somebody else teaches you a gospel different than what is in this book, let him be accursed.
And I will make a caveat. I'm not a caveat to what you're saying. What you're saying is completely true. Look, if you think you've had an angelic encounter, if you think for some reason, I'm not saying...
Oh, I'd like to address that one too. Go ahead.
I'm not saying that cannot happen. What I am saying is this, like Will said, if that person goes, hey, I'm an angel, here's some extra stuff from God. No.
Here's
Okay.
a New Testament.
Here's a New Testament.
Or not even that. Okay, I'll dumb it down even further or make it simpler. Guys, again, you'll find this in the Bible. A angel
there you go. That's what I was
will
about to get
always identify themselves, and they are not comfortable with worship.
Yes.
If you have
they
a
will
being,
tell you to stop worshiping.
there you go.
And they will
Over
also
and over
say,
again.
they will start with, don't be afraid.
There you
And
go.
they'll tell you who they are and where they're from. I'm an angel of the Lord. So if you have anything that you're like, oh man, an angel came to me and they said, my grandmother said this. I'm like,
nope.
Did they say they were from God? Did they get the calling card? You know what I mean?
Yep.
If not, I don't think you're speaking to an angel. And also just for, clarity's sake, look, I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian, for going on like 20 years at this point. I'm not saying people don't have encounters.
No, there's still stuff I can't explain.
There's still stuff I can't explain. And there's stuff that I've encountered that I can't explain. Here's what I'll say to a lot of Christians out there if you feel left out, quote unquote, from these spiritual encounters. Because there's also false teachers that'll say,
yes,
I've had this encounter and an angel told me this or that or that.
Right.
Let me tell you something. If you ever feel left out, there's a great bit by Tim Hawkins, the Christian comedian, where he's like, man, I wish I was addicted to drugs.
I wish I had a better testimony.
Yeah, he's like, I wish I had a better testimony. And I'm like, and it's funny, but it's also true of if you ever feel like, man, I'm being left out. Like I never had an experience. I never had a spiritual encounter. I never heard God speaking to me in my ear. Oh, buddy, he has. It's called the Bible.
Yes.
If you live in the year 2025 and you are blessed by grace to live anywhere on this planet and you have access to the Word of God, why do you expect to hear God speak to you?
Amen.
You aren't willing to crack the Bible, and you are not willing to study the Word that He has given you. Do you expect more? Do you expect something to come out of nothing? You need to hear it when He has given it to you. And that was convicting to me, because it's like, okay, if I'm not willing to give me, if I'm not willing to work with what you've already given me, why do I expect to hear any more? And like Will said, He's told us there's no more revelation. You know what there is? Jesus coming back.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
And that's where I'm landing now. And what I'm encouraging you, the audience, I think it's hard to I don't want to lump everything together. There's some of these encounters, I've covered it on the YouTube channel. There's a story of Daniel Boone shooting one of these things like it was a creature. There's lots of written
I'll speak to
accounts
that
of
if you'd like.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, finish one, and I'll speak to that.
For what we encountered, there's just, to me, there's two, the orbs kind of send it over the edge of like, okay, I see this here, and I see this here, and this happened here. And I feel like what me and Bailee and Will and whoever else have encountered, I feel like it was spiritual. Yes. And guys, don't go seeking out this stuff, please. And Glenn Beck, of all people, he there was a friend of his. He published a article recently, and talking about these Bigfoot people, these guys you see on the TV shows and in the clubs and in the the BFRO and all that, and they all have a very scary and similar story of, oh yeah, we have encounters all the time. Oh, the lights, yeah. What you do is you go in the woods and then you invite them in. You ask them, guys.
Oh, good grief!
I'm not kidding. If you dig long enough in any Bigfoot group, you will find a person
that says invited.
That says, oh yeah, invited in, guys. That is a number one demonic.
Can we please go back to Sunday school? Did none of y'all go to Sunday school?
You're right.
When the snake enters the garden, what does he say? He says, did God really say that?
There you go.
Let me just give you a piece of advice. If ever somebody says, did God really say? Probably whatever follows is like Will said, heresy. So when you have to say, you should just invite it in, you should just let this come in.
No. Run away. Anybody that tells you to do that, run away. Because, and I will say this too, if you are a child of the one high king, you are saved and redeemed. You cannot be possessed by a demon because you are Christ. You are God.
You are already filled with the Spirit.
You are already filled with the Holy Spirit. However, guys, you can be harassed.
Yes.
And I'm not comfortable sharing that right now, and I just take my word for it. You can be harassed, and I'll just leave it at that.
I'll put it to you this way. As far as a lot of these spiritual things go, you are going to be filled with something.
Yes.
You're going to be filled with yourself. You're going to be filled with selfishness. Your heart has a God-shaped hole in it. It is up to you. You want to put a golden calf there? You can try. It won't work. You are missing out on a relationship. We all are. We are all fallen. We have all, sinned. We need Christ. And you can seek out anything else out there and think that, okay, this will do it. And I say all that to bring it full circle. I think personally, if we're talking about sort of summing up this whole encounter, because me and Turner and Will have talked about this off the podcast, is that the reason I think demons and demonic forces use Bigfoot is that, yes, it very well was a creature. And heck, there are some unseen places on this planet. There might still be one.
Sure.
I would argue that there are, if you follow as Forrest Galante, the wildlife biologist, really cool guy. I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but anyways, really, if you're interested in just biology, he's got some cool stuff. He has a lot of hypotheses that there are megafauna, large creatures that exist that we just haven't found yet. Even ones we think may have been extinct may not be extinct. Right. So I'm not saying there can't be a physical creature. What I am saying is that the enemy will take things and twist them, like Turner was saying.
Yes.
And they will take things and twist them so that you are distracted. Because if I am, going to take somebody away from Christ or take somebody away from the idea of Christ and get them distracted, I'm going to give them this crazy thing that they can't explain so that they become obsessed with it for years. If you listen to the Wes Germer podcast, you'll hear some of these old guys of like,
I was going to say the same thing.
I've had an encounter in the 80s and I'm 40 years out. I still don't know, but all I do is think about it. Yeah. Okay. That guy has had something in his life. We don't like to talk about it these days, but we say, what do you worship? Yeah. And people don't like to use the word worship, but worship is what you give your time, money, and energy to. So if you were giving it to something that distracted you, man, that demon did his job because he got you to be so freaked out and worried by this. That's all you think about. That's all you're worried about. You're worried about Bigfoot. You're obsessed with it. Me and Turner had to go through this.
Yes.
And Will.
Oh, my hands up.
We had to go, hey, we're stepping away from this. Not necessarily because it's like, oh man, this is so creepy and weird. It's because, man, it became an idol.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah, an improper allocation of our time.
Amen.
It became an improper allocation of our time. It became something that is filling when, man, I should be praying. I should be in the scripture. Mm-hmm. I should be listening to a sermon instead of another Bigfoot podcast.
Amen.
And again, I say that as my good buddy Turner says, with 3 fingers and a thumb pointed back at myself, because I did that too. And that is, I think, sort of the synopsis of this episode is that, man, these things are crazy and weird, and everybody's like, ooh, that's scary, that's cool, that's kind of a crazy thing to look for and hear about. Ultimately, guys, it doesn't mean a hill of beans. It is a distraction.
Yeah.
It is something to get you away from the truth. And the truth is that we all need Jesus Christ. You need to repent of your sins. You need to acknowledge and accept him as your savior and start following him. Start coming to the foot of the cross, and don't be Martha, be Mary. Come to the foot of the cross and seek Christ. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Amen.
Just to clarify on, you say, we got to accept Jesus. Well, who is Jesus? There are people out there that are confused on exactly who Jesus is, and they will sow seeds of confusion. I'll tell you who Jesus is. Jesus is the Son of God.
Yes.
And he is also God himself. He is fully God and fully man. He always has been. Jesus himself was the one walking with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Jesus himself was the one that came, spoke to Abraham and Sarah and told them they were going to have a child a year later when he came back. That was Jesus, the fully God man. He came to this earth, born of a virgin. He lived the perfect life. He died on the cross for the remission of our sins. He rose again 3 days later, ascended up to heaven, and he will come back.
Yeah, and was seen by 500 witnesses.
500.
And if you don't want to believe us, guys, go do the research. If you just hear this and you're a non-believer and you're like, man, I don't believe the Bible, why would I believe the fairy tales you read? Okay, go read A Case for Christ by Lee Strobel.
I was going to say, read A Case for Christ by Lee Strobel, and then go seek out our brother from another mother, Mr. Wesley Huff.
Phenomenal source.
Phenomenal
right
source.
there.
But go look at Wesley Huff talked about it. Lee Strobel talked about it. Look at the historical documents that we have by non-Christians of the time. People who are considered now good historic sources saying that not only was Jesus a real man, but that he was crucified and that he also came back.
Yep.
So if you don't want to take our word for it, and I've been convicted here lately. Look, if you hear this and you're just like, I don't care. Okay. I pray for you. I pray that Christ convicts you, that the Holy Spirit convicts you. I pray that you do come back. If you're at all curious, if you think, hey man, this is kind of interesting. I never thought about it that way. Bro, go seek it out. Type in Wesley Huff to YouTube. Start watching videos. Type in cross-examined.
Yes.
Dr. Frank Turek.
Yes. One of my favorites.
Type, the late great John MacArthur passed away this past week. Go listen to some John MacArthur sermons.
Adrian Rogers.
Adrian Rogers. Man, that Adrian Rogers passed away 20 years ago. Do y'all know that? In 2005?
Yeah.
He convicts me to this day.
Yes, sir.
I go listen to the Adrian Rogers sermon and I'm like, dang it.
Yep.
My bad, Adrian.
Y'all,
But there's the truth is out there, guys. It's in the scripture. Don't miss that. And we like hearing ghost stories. We like telling ghost stories.
we love a good story. I'm a sucker for a good story.
Absolutely. Don't let a ghost story, even if it happens to you, take you away from Christ. Don't let it become a distraction. Don't let it become an idol.
Yeah. And so again, y'all probably didn't see that coming. Going
Psych.
from Bigfoot to a sermon.
Can I share one Bible verse real quick?
You can go ahead. That'd be a good way to end this.
This is and this is really talking to non-Christians and Christians. This is specifically talking to Christians.
Okay.
But I'll tell you this, that it applies. If you're not a Christian, you should become one. It'd be great to see you in heaven. But it also, I think it's apt. It's apt for everybody. And this comes from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. The whole chapter is great. You should read all of 1 Thessalonians, but we're going to start in verse 9. Now concerning brotherly love, you have no need for anyone to write to you, for yourselves have been taught by God to love one another. For that indeed is what you are doing to all brothers throughout Macedonia. But we urge you, brothers, to do this more and more, and to aspire to live quietly, and to mind your own affairs, to work with your hands as we instructed you, so that you may walk properly before outsiders and be dependent on no one. And
boy, that right there, we all need to. Hey,
man,
let me put that in Perry County truck driver. Know your role and shut your hole.
There you go. It literally, guys, if you ever question, and hey, all three of us at this table are guilty of it. What's my role in life, God? What am I supposed to be doing? I'm pretty sure I can answer that for you.
Oh, yeah. Because at the goal is at the end to be told, well done, my good and faithful servant.
I'll tell you.
It's not to be told, well done, my good and studious, my good and educated, my good and famous servant.
My good and famous.
My good and faithful servant.
This day and age, everybody wants fame. Everybody wants notoriety. And God is telling you, do what I have before you. If you're married, be a good husband. If you have children, be a good father. If you're a churchgoer, be a good church member. If you are a coworker, be the coworker that people go, dang, that guy has helped me out even when he was tired and worn out and sweaty. Dang, that guy is always talking about Jesus and he actually seems to live it. If you want to know what your role in life is, that's what your role in life is.
Amen. Great episode, guys. So that wraps it up for today. Again, let me give a shameless plug, do a bit of housekeeping. Obviously, this is brought to you by the Indian Hen Outdoors YouTube channel that I host. Be sure and check out that on Instagram. Be sure and check out Will on Instagram at 8 with a gun. And you can find Bailee on YouTube at Biology with BJ. And so that wraps it up. Hope we've answered some questions, maybe caused you to think a little bit. And until next time, this has been Lost in Stupidity. I'm Turner.
And I'm Will.
And I'm Bailee.
Thank you so much for listening.